Man, that whole rat pile in they all did in Lansing. They got to go to prison. Dana Nessa belongs in prison. The treasurer of the Democratic Party is in a load of trouble. Nestle's wife was caught up in a criminal referral for laundering campaign money. Act Blue, dude. What's up with that?
A lot. It's imploding.
It's imploding, and it's a front, isn't it?
That's all. It has the potential to be a laundering mechanism for Democrat money coming in from
Bernie Sanders,
illegal sources.
Fraud.
Yeah.
Elizabeth Warren, fraud.
That's tactful.
Gretchen Whitmer, fraud. It's all fraudulent. It's and I was looking into that back in 2015 when Garland Gilchrist, who's now thinks he's going to be governor. Oh, what a dope. Back when he was running for mayor, I'm like, what's this woman from Bangor, Maine sending you $2.50? I called the woman from Bangor, Maine. She never heard of Garland Gilchrist.
I mean, he was running for clerk.
Clerk.
Right. City
That's
clerk.
right.
Mm-hmm.
Now he's a dopey governor. He's not going to be governor, man. Anyway, so let's just get to warning. This program has news, real news.
And receipts.
Receipts. Not like, what's that guy's name? The chiropractor guy that took 8th place for governor. What's Soldano, right? What is with this guy? What's with this guy? Everybody's tweeting now, I got the receipts, man. I got the receipts. Dude, you Googled it. You didn't. We, the people, are the media now. Go ahead and be the fucking media, but you're not the press. You didn't do anything. Nobody, all these little gangs on Twitter now, nobody did anything to help this state. Nobody joined me when we sued Whitmer for the nursing home murders. Nobody, right? Nobody's working these elections. Everybody just talking. Just talking circles. It's not going to get it done. Anyway, we were back in court. One Finger Freddy, the guy that got paid hundreds of thousands of dollars for the fake signatures, back in court, and we were there. Roll it. One Finger Freddy was back in court this week. Fresh haircut, old clothes, same middle finger, and same outcome. After 2 years, his case is delayed yet again. It's almost as if Attorney General Dana Nessel doesn't want Freddie standing trial for all those fake signatures he turned in for Republican candidates who got kicked off the ballot because of the fake signatures. But Nessel's wife got cheated by Freddie too, allegedly. She paid him $1 million for 200,000 bogus signatures for her gay rights proposal a year earlier. But Nessel didn't charge Freddie for screwing your wife. Maybe Dingbat Dana is trying to hide something. So I asked the poor dope who Nessel put in charge of this fiasco about all of her other fiascos. When is this thing ever going to trial?
No comment, sorry.
What about, why isn't he being charged for defrauding Nessel's wife in the Fair and Equal Michigan?
No comment, sorry.
And what about the charges brought about Nessel's wife, about campaign finance fraud?
So, no comment. You can talk to Danny Wimmer from our press office.
Yeah, I keep calling, but Danny never calls back, as you know.
Well, I don't know that, but...
What about this here, this Tracy Cornack, the state party treasurer? She is accused of bilking an old brain damaged woman.
I'm just going to catch the next one.
And she was given the lie. No one should be surprised. By now, everybody knows the jingle.
Dum da dum dum. Dum da dum dum dum. Dum da dum dum. Dum da dum dum. Dana.
Now, the big news. Before I get to the big news, let me tell you about Luke Nowacki. Do not panic. The stock market is flat since the election. Don't panic. It's overvalued. Panicking is not a strategy. The market's overvalued anyway. Get some help to make sense of today so you can have it tomorrow. You're going to call Luke Nowacki at Pinnacle Wealth Strategies, 248-663-4748, and Archangel Senior Management. Joe LeBlanc. Joe LeBlanc, you will see him after this big, huge piece of news I'm about ready to drop on your head. Joe, who cares about old people, who was on the board of directors of the Senior Living Association. The guys know Joe. He knows that end-of-life care is shit. And if you're an entrepreneur looking for a safe and socially responsible real estate investment where the elderly can live together in nice neighborhoods and be part of the community, then you give him a call at 989-614-0416. He's getting a lot of calls. He's got a lot of appointments, so I'm very proud of the guy. Again, Archangel Senior Management, 989-614-0416. Make the call and see what it's all about. Now, here, watch this. Watch this. Attorney General Dana Nessel has big troubles. But the loon of Lansing is too busy suing Donald Trump and making sour-faced TikTok videos to notice the storm clouds. It has to do with her gal pal, Tracy Kornak, a personal injury slip and fall lawyer and the treasurer of the Michigan Democratic Party. Kornak was accused 2 years ago by the director of a Michigan old folks home, Joe, of trying to bilk her elderly, brain-damaged client of $30,000 by filing fraudulent insurance claims in the name of the 86-year-old Grand Rapids woman and claiming that Kornak's daughter was providing extra nursing care to her. Follow me so far? Mm-hmm. Okay. Months after the insurance scam fell through, Kornak took money from the woman's account anyway. Here's the receipts. Real ones. Freedom of Information Act. Nessel knew this, since Nessel has admitted as much to Nessel's investigator, and Nessel was in possession of the report when Kornak, right here, this is an email from Dana Nessel. She's got the interview that Kornak gave to the investigator. The investigator wrote, when asked how her daughter was paid, Kornak stated her daughter was paid out of the ward's funds, and then she sought reimbursement for the ward via invoices submitted to State Farm. Now, Nessel's office never spoke to the nursing home director who blew the whistle, nor did her office ever speak to the woman whose money was allegedly taken. More alarming, Nessel's staff, listen to this, Nessel's staff turned over the active criminal case file to Kornak, despite the fact that the case was still ongoing and Kornak was the suspect. This information has never been reported, and it comes by way of banking records and documents obtained under the Michigan Freedom of Information Act. Now, a sprawling 2-year financial crimes investigation in Kent County that has its origins in Kornak's $30,000 withdrawal of the old woman's savings is coming to a head, I've been told, with possible charges coming as early as next month. So what will become of Nessel should those charges be filed against her friend and colleague? The one she let slip through her fingers. Would Nessel face obstruction of justice charges? Would she be impeached? Are the deadbeat Republicans who promised us all this shit in Lansing, all these investigations, ever going to actually do anything? Or are we just posing on Twitter here? Kornak, it is alleged, tried to bill for extra nursing time for the old woman that Kornak's daughter supposedly provided, but there are no records that her daughter ever stepped foot in the nursing home. According to the nursing home's lawyer, Kornak faked the documents using the nursing home's tax ID number. Once the scam was uncovered, the nursing home returned the nearly $30,000 check to State Farm. But months later, Kornak withdrew the funds from the old woman's account. Remember, she told the investigator, I took it out of the account and then I was hoping the insurance company was going to come through. But they denied it 10 months earlier. Like, Nessel doesn't know this? It should be noted that Kornak worked on Nessel's 2018 transition team. And they won't tell me what she did. Was it for old people? Now, after I appeared on Tucker Carlson's program in July 2022 and exposed the rancid allegations, Nessel's office opened an investigation into Kornak. The director of financial crimes, Scott Teeter, was so worried about the obvious conflict of interest that he drafted a memo informing the staff that he was constructing an ethical firewall. I believe it would create the appearance of impropriety for AG Nessel to access information about this investigation, Teeter wrote. Specifically, if the Department of Attorney General declined to seek charges against the suspect, it might appear that the professional relationship between Attorney General Dana Nessel and Tracy Kornak had influenced the investigation. And that is precisely what happened according to these internal documents. In December of 2022, Nessel forwarded along 4 investigative reports to her staff that she was not supposed to have because that firewall. Miss Cornack, let me read it here. Miss Cornack has contacted me regarding this matter, wrote Nessel. Mr. Redacted's allegations are apparently holding up a judicial appointment for her in Kent County. She has requested the documents from our investigation. Now, when Nessel subtly pressured her staff to expedite the documents to Cornack, an argument erupted in the office. The file is not yet closed, one staffer wrote. This file does have a conflict wall, wrote another staffer. Nevertheless, the active case was forwarded to Cornack. That same afternoon, Nessel's chief deputy abruptly resigned. 2 weeks later, the case was dropped for a lack of victim, even though the old woman and the nursing home director were never interviewed, at least not by Nessel. But they were interviewed by detectives from the Kent County Sheriff's Office, who have been compiling this case for more than 2 years. If authorities do bring charges, at least one nursing home resident in Michigan would finally get some justice. And I wonder what kind of video Nessel would post if that happened. And I certainly would be happy to direct that video. Now, I went to Cornack's house. You guys want to see it?
Yes.
Let's roll it.
Tracy Cornack, a slip-and-fall lawyer from Grand Rapids and the treasurer of the Michigan Democratic Party, was accused last month by a nursing home director of trying to scam an insurance company of $50,000 in the name of an elderly, brain-damaged woman. That nursing home director, Joe LeBlanc, has since been fired.
That's not the reason they gave me, but I think that's pretty much it. But you know, what are you going to do? I feel like I did the right thing. You know, if somebody came to me and said, I think your business manager is shady, like, I'd be grateful.
Meanwhile, Cornack and the Democrats are silent, hoping it all dies away. No way, we say. So we went to Grand Rapids to find Cornack's office.
Tracy Cornack?
No.
Was it ever?
I don't think so.
Nope, not here either. A P.O. box? What kind of law office is that? That's a very small. Must be little furniture in that office.
Finding no office, we went to Cornack's house in suburban Grand Rapids.
Hello?
People were inside. I saw the blinds moving, but they pretended they weren't inside.
I'd like to talk to you about one of your clients, Ms. Did, in fact, your daughter apply $50,000 of care to this old woman? And why are you using somebody else's tax ID number? There's no record of your daughter being there. We'd like answers. We care about our old people.
And then someone screamed out the window.
Get the fuck out of that mailbox! I just caught you on camera!
Say what?
Get the fuck out of that mailbox! I just caught you on camera!
Let's hear that one more time.
Get the fuck out of that mailbox! I just caught you on camera!
MFer from the upstairs window. Not what I'd expect from one of the most powerful Democrats in Michigan.
That was friendly. Must be a lawyer.
Neighbor said, I shouldn't be surprised.
I moved in here. First thing she said to me was, move your car to my mailbox while we're unpacking. So,
And ever since then, it's just been hate.
never spoke to me. Never waved, nothing.
Only that one time.
That's the only time I've ever spoken with her.
Really? How long have you lived here?
6 years. Yeah.
Wow.
So when my husband's outside, like we had somebody measuring for the property lines, you can't put up a fence there. That's my property line. So, guy said, no, it's not. That's their property So.
Tracy, why can't you be nicer to your neighbor Terry over here?
In the end, this is about the elderly of Michigan and how we treat them. Governor Gretchen Whitmer still refuses to address the true number of nursing home dead under her COVID policies. And her treasurer, Tracy Kornak, refuses to address $50,000 in mysterious billings she tried to pocket in the name of a brain-damaged woman. And the man who blew the whistle on this all, he's out on his ass.
I mean, at the end of the day, I want to look back and be able to say 5-10 years from now I did the right thing. And, to hell with the consequences, really. But, no, I knew what was going to happen. I knew this was going to come. And I really feel good about what was said and what was done.
And this is why people are afraid to do right by each other. The consequences. Joe's not afraid, and we're not afraid. We'll stay on this. We promise.
Live from downtown Detroit, it's the No Bullshit News Hour with my main man, Charlie LeDuff and Karen Dumas.
Let's just did breaking news. No more bullshit. No more bullshit.
I'm Grace Karros, and I'm third generation of American Coney Island. People say Detroit's a comeback city. I say, where you been? We've been here for over 100 years. My family's been here on the same corner, serving our famous proprietary American Coney Island hot dog. So like always, we're keeping things fresh, updated, and new. We'd love to have you come downtown and visit us, but if you can't, you can always go to AmericanConeyIsland.com, order a Coney kit, get it delivered fresh right to your door.
Well, when it rains, the power goes out. And when the power goes out, the internet goes out. When the internet goes out, I call my friend Matt and Bernie at XG Service Group. Look at Bernie here on his hands and knees, giving it everything he's got. Look at that man crack. So busy, he forgot to wear a belt. There's Matt right there getting the board together. That's 734-245-4100 if you need Matt and Bernie to come take care of your voice over internet, your security cameras, off-campus access control, Wi-Fi, and cameras for homes and business. They'll design it for you. You got restaurants, they do drive-through systems, railroad cameras for public safety, total wireless camera systems for your home and business. Yeah, that's right. Call XG Services at 734-245-4100. Are we back?
Yeah.
Do you know I had lunch with the new director of news for X? Did you know that?
Do tell.
I'm going to be the X guy.
What is
X
that?
Factor.
What is
X-Man.
that job portfolio?
Huh?
What is that job portfolio?
It's really interesting because they don't know what they're doing. They're trying to figure it out because Twitter isn't even the fourth largest social media platform in the world, but it is the front page. It's the newspaper that everybody goes there. So they're trying to figure out what to do now. There is a lot of money in local news, right? Everything we're getting is out of Washington and that little cool club thing they're doing and stupid videos. But look at the Detroit News. It's fucking dying. How many subscriptions to people's doorstep do you think the Detroit News has? Do you know?
I have an idea.
Like 10,000? Something. Nobody's watching it. So maybe one strategy would be you got somebody in Detroit, you got somebody in LA, you got somebody in Tampa, you got somebody in Chicago, trusted people that do cool videos, right? And Elon Musk wants to kick ass, right? He doesn't want to do TikTok videos. He wants real journalism, but it's got to be interesting. So I asked the dude, can you get me Elon? Can you bring Elon here? And I'm bringing Elon here. We're going to Detroit Doge this motherfucker. We're going to, because all this federal money going around, it has to land someplace. And the way politics works in America is each state, each city, it's its own clubhouse. You go to Washington and you pander and you get your bread and you bring it back and you steal it. And if we're looking at housing for the homeless, it's hundreds of millions of dollars. FEMA, hundreds of millions of dollars. The demolition money, hundreds of millions of dollars. Where did it fucking go?
Not where it was supposed to.
Hey, Mike, newsflash, bro. Me and Elon I'm going to be in your office.
That ought to be interesting.
If I can get him, I mean, if I can get, because it's fucked up here.
But, Charlie, you may actually do that. I mean, because people tend to think that, because you see these people, they're bigger than life or whatever. But the reality is that they're trying to be in touch with what's going on. So they're accessible for things that have substance. And if, in fact, obviously they know that there's some substance in you and in this show, enough to meet with you. So I could see that happening.
It would be fun.
It'd be fun.
Wouldn't it?
It would be interesting.
Because, we're the swing state. We decide the election, not Washington, not AOC, not Bernie Sanders, right? Not, what's her name, the press secretary now?
Levitt, Caroline Levitt.
Yeah, I mean, this is just showtime. This is where it really goes down. Mike Duggan fucking around, trying to pretend like the shelter for the women and the children is all copacetic. It's not. What happens, Mike? What would happen if the fucking place, God forbid, caught on fire? Then what excuse could you possibly make? It's illegal. And everything you're fucking doing is illegal. And if Elon, assume he would drive, right? One of his Teslas. I would need him to stop at Bobby Kennedy's office and get me those Gretchen Whitmer nursing home documents that the Congress subpoenaed she and Cuomo. Somebody's asking for that. And we're now in the 5-year anniversary of that lockdown. Yep. And we never got a fucking accounting of what happened. Are we going to get that? You're a Republican. They're making big noise up in Lansing. Are they ever going to do anything? Because we want accountability.
No, I absolutely think. I mean, they set up committees that didn't exist before for this purpose. Now, we're only in March. They've only been in there a couple months and we're adjourned for a while. And you have split power, but I expect you're going to see investigations into this stuff.
Is that what you're hearing?
Oh, yeah.
Because I just laid it out like you're going to investigate Nessel. Never looked into the nursing homes. You obstructed justice with your friend here. Those are grounds for impeachment.
But whatever happened, and I know I'm thinking to the trip. Remember, the trip that the lobbying lady firm or whatever paid for her and her wife to attend
Turks and Caicos.
Turks and Caicos. Remember, there was a bit, and then nothing ever happens, and so everybody keeps getting away with everything, and they keep pushing the envelope because they're never caught, in trouble, reprimanded.
Secretary of State has not applied the laws of her office evenly with Republicans and Democrats. Clearly, Nessel hasn't. Whitmer has not been forced to be transparent about any of the campaign finance violations that she's had, personal finance violations. I mean, you go back to the Florida trip during COVID, that was never satisfactorily accounted for. I mean, she would change it was always paid for by a different entity every time she got asked the question, and then the media just let it go.
I'm so glad you brought that up, bro.
Oh, yeah.
I've got receipts. Do we have it, Mark? Yeah. Okay, so Gretchen Whitmer flies to Florida. Daddy's sick, but I did some work and my kids weren't with me. They were with me. I'm not really sure who paid for what. I'm paying for it. No, my campaign's paying for it. No, my charity's paying for it. Her campaign, it's right here. Her campaign cut 2 checks. One for $27,000 to PVS Chemicals, right? Over here on the east side of the city. And another one to a plumber dude up in Oakland County for she flew to the inauguration. So one was in Florida, one was for Biden's inauguration. We all are supposed to stay sheltered in place, ruin our kids' lives, kill the old people, destroy the businesses, arrest barbers and all of this nonsense while you're flying around shaking down business people. The campaign cut 2 checks to the business people, okay? But the checks have never been cashed. The checks cannot be cashed because it's illegal for the owner of a private airplane to be cashing checks because you're not a charter business. And if you cash those checks, they're going to take your airplane away. You're not allowed to be flying it. So is that campaign fraud? It's minimum, it's lying to us. But the checks have never been cashed. What's the answer, Gretchen? Fucking, who's the dumbest? Who's the dumbest of these people?
But they're all protecting each other. I mean, they're the whole Charlie's Angels thing. Charlie's Angels.
Yeah, everyone's technically living up to the letter of the law, but they are clearly circumventing the spirit of the law. And Gretchen is getting away with fraudulently
And murder.
accepting trips, which should be prohibited by campaign finance law, but also ethics law as the governor and gifts that she can receive. She ultimately personally received the gift of the tens of thousands of dollars of these private air flights that none of us could get. And by the way, she was telling us not to even get on a commercial jetliner at that time to go on spring break, visit our families.
She wasn't even vaxxed.
No.
Oh, and then my father, I had to take him to get a vitamin B12 shot. I mean, a week later, he's driving around the malls in fucking Lansing in his electric car. What are you talking about? You're like,
well,
Gavin
remember, she
Newsom.
didn't even notify the state of Florida, which is
That she was coming, yeah,
you are
you're right.
obliged to, as the governor, let the
state police,
the state police, and the governor's office know that you're going to be in the state. Clearly, she was trying to do this under the dark of night so that nobody knew until she got caught.
And look at the state of Michigan. What your daughter? What was it?
I got to pull it up, Charlie. It was from the U.S. News.
You can remember it.
Yeah, well, we're down. We're low.
U.S. News and World Report just came out with
U.S. News and World Report, and they said that we are now 42nd, 43rd. We've slipped another notch. This is in terms of education, the economy, infrastructure. So we continue to decline, the quality of life.
Well, you buried the
everything.
lead. Best places to live. We're 42nd in the country. We are the
42nd.
8th worst state to live in the country.
I just read one, I believe it was the Cato Institute. In the last 15 years, in terms of population growth, Michigan is 49th. The only one behind us is West Virginia, and they all died from opioids. So what's going on here? We're in the bottom 10 in education,
yep.
job growth,
The economy.
population, quality of life.
Infrastructure, the economy, yeah, all of that.
And this dope wants to be what?
Who knows?
This dope wants to be the president?
But Charlie, again, everybody continues to just allow people to run from position to position. They don't do their homework. There's no accountability for the last thing that they've done. And so they feel like they can get away with it. Like, why not? The press, the media, nobody holds them accountable. You know, they print their press releases and talking points as though it were fact, and people buy into it and say, oh, yeah, they're
and
great.
think about who are the two Democratic governors in the country that are most talked about as being the candidate for president for Democrats in 2028. Gavin Newsom and Gretchen Whitmer. And there is not a single metric that you would measure their tenures as being successful. You could not point to a single thing. Whitmer, both of them, they could take credit for spending the most money ever. Both of them can take credit for losing population. I mean, Michigan's been losing population probably for 3 decades now. But California just had the first net population loss in the state's history under Gavin Newsom. Wow. Education's near the bottom. Poverty and homelessness
unemployment near the top. Homelessness.
The two best Democratic governors in the country do not have one data point in their 6 plus years now of governance to point to and say with any pride, I did that.
What do you mean? What are you talking about? You mean like Shapiro in Pennsylvania?
I don't even know that he's
Kentucky?
even accomplished anything. He's at least, likable, I think, compared to these guys. And he's not been in office, frankly, in 2 years to do enough, I think, for us to have a real opinion for him, other than we know he's a talented on-the-stump politician. Pete Buttigieg is a talented on-the-stump politician, and he's the mayor of South Bend, Indiana. He's accomplished absolutely nothing, the worst transportation secretary in the history of the position. And because he speaks pretty and has an interesting pedigree, somehow this fucking guy is presidential timber.
So Garland Gilchrist is going to take the pothole Pete strategy and get himself into the state house? Garland Gilchrist? Ichabod Crane?
Who's never been elected to any office in his entire life.
But, I mean, in the interesting thing, again, like I said, people forget. Let's go back to the governor's race when Gretchen did not deliver Detroit. That tree won Detroit. And Garland at the time had run for city clerk. Now, if I'm running and I'm counting votes, I'm winning. So he lost, and people were sympathetic, so
he came close. He was within 1%.
I understand, but losing is losing. Two is not a winner. So Gretchen tapped him to help her deliver Detroit, and that was his entree into politics. So what, and people had mentioned to him and asked, maybe you should run for mayor. And he has said, and I'm only repeating this because he didn't share this with me in confidence, everybody knows about it. He said that would be beneath him, which signals to me that you're not interested in what you can do. You're interested in what it can do for you.
Well, it's not that it's beneath him in terms of prestige. It's he doesn't know geography. He's in Lansing and he knows Detroit somewhere beneath him. But this motherfucker couldn't find Shane and Gratiot if I gave him $300 for an Uber. He's from Farmington fucking Hills.
But that's not even something you should say. I mean, again, and I say this all the time, that public service has been replaced with self-service. Like, are you looking at what difference you can even try or to pretend to make? Or are you looking at what it means to you in terms of clout?
Well, here, Garland, here's what we're going to do, bro. You bought a land bank house in Detroit, and the rules were if you didn't get it finished and occupied in 6 months, the city takes it. You took a couple of years, and then I caught you. And the city didn't take it. They let you sell it. He bought this bitch for 10 grand, and he sold it to some hipster in Miami with a laptop and a cappuccino maker. I called the guy. And the guy gave you 200 grand for it. 200 grand. For a dump with no walls. 200 grand. So how did you find this hipster? Now, the hipster had 6 months to fix it. It's still fucked up. It's all chained up. The walls aren't done. There's garbage in the front yard. This was 2018. This is 7 fucking years ago. So something ain't right, Garland. And I'm a software designer. What'd you design? I designed the Detroit complaint app. You can go on the app. Try finding this app. This app doesn't exist. Back when he was running, I designed the app, and we got 80,000 dead trees removed. 80,000 dead trees. That's just like how many trees we got in Detroit. That would be like 2 years, 80,000 dead trees, 365 days a year, rain, sleet, snow. Dude, there's no way we're taking down, what is that, even that number? 80 trees a day? It's bullshit. Then look at Jocelyn Benson. And here's another one. Breaking news. Nobody looking into her. What's her resume? She is a hologram.
Hologram.
A hologram. I'm coming for it, Jocelyn. Here's the deal. You graduate law school and you come to Detroit and you clerk for Damon Keith for a year. 1 year. Never worked a case in your life. Never had a court case in your life. 1 year after clerking for Damon Keith, you're an associate professor at Wayne State? You got to work years to be an associate professor, right? 3 years later, you're the fucking dean. It's on her, there's no resume out there, look for it. Youngest woman ever to be in charge, be the dean of an accredited law school in the United States at like 35 years old. You were never in a courtroom. You never tried a case. And you're the fucking dean. Who did you sleep with? You're the fucking dean? Now, she becomes the dean, the acting dean, in 2012. At that time, according to U.S. News, Wayne State is ranked 52nd in American law schools. Okay? Jocelyn Benson, for 4 years, is the dean. According to U.S. News, it's now ranked 87th. She goes to work for Stephen Ross. We're going to look all into this, all the mob connections, everything going on. It's going to happen. You want the big chair, you got to clear this desk. She goes to work for Stephen Ross. And today, the ranking for Wayne State Law School is 52nd again. She's a complete fucking fraud. And we know what she did with the election rules. There's nothing to run on. Now, she referred criminal charges to Dana Nessel concerning Dana Nessel's wife, Dana Nessel's friend, the lobbyist, campaign finance fraud. Where's the charges? Where's the charges? Where's the fucking charges? Now, because we're so stupid here, we got nobody. We got nothing, man. Gilchrist, fucking Benson, fucking Duggan, jeez, oh fuck. All right. So Now they're giving us a big helping of Slotkin. Oh my!
Hold on, before we move on from Gilchrist Benson, one fun thing that we got to start watching for now. Yeah. Now that Gilchrist, Whitmer's lieutenant governor, is in the race, and Whitmer's been playing footsie with Trump because she wants the CHIPS money to keep flowing into Michigan, and she's playing footsie with Speaker of the House Matt Hall because she wants to get a roads deal done because her legacy has to be somehow attached to roads, good or bad. So she's pissing off all the progressive activists. What happens with Gilchrist and Benson vis-a-vis Whitmer? Do they start creating some daylight by, if I'm Benson, do I start criticizing Gilchrist because he's been going along with Whitmer while she sucks up to Hitler and is playing footsie with all these people you're not even supposed to talk to because they're so evil? You're going to start to see, I think, some intramural knife fighting with some of these Democrats now because of what Whitmer's doing.
That's interesting.
And one's attached to Whitmer, and one of them's trying to be, the toast of the progressive side of the Democratic primary.
There's nothing for Gilchrist to run on.
No.
Like, what did you accomplish?
Well, that dude doesn't even have a lane to begin with. I mean, I don't know anyone that thinks we need Garland Gilchrist to be governor. No.
Let's look at this dipshit for a second. I'm a software genius. Then how come Kim Kardashian is bilking the unemployment office? How are billions missing? The computers don't work. The Health and Human Services computers don't work. We can't count nursing home dead. What the fuck do we have to... Dude. God damn. I don't know. Okay, but now we got Slotkin. And I told you, everybody, you're a dumbass when you go on The View and make the host look smart. Did you see this last thing she was saying about, do we have that clip? Okay, here's Alyssa Slotkin lecturing us about the state of American society. Go ahead.
Right. I think there's a feeling in the country. Yeah. I mean, I often say this.
Pleather.
We're about to turn 250 years old, right? We're still pretty young for a country. These are our our angry teenage years, right? We are going through this push and pull where we're happy, we're sad, we want this, we want that. And what do you do when you have a teenager who's threatening themselves and others? You just try to get them through this period alive so that their brain can fully form and you can come back to kind of what
Are
a
you
country.
talking about Trump?
No, I'm talking about our country. We're pendulum swinging. We're pendulum swinging. And so for me, I think that I don't think there's a single American who feels like this is normal.
What a dope. First of all, you don't have any kids.
Second of all, clearly she lost her luggage and someone sliced open a Restoration Hardware couch cushion.
But why do they all opt for this? And I'm just speaking from, they all opt for the cheap leather. She and Gret, it's just like, that looks terrible.
It's got some broad shoulders.
I mean, quality. Yeah. I mean, that's not a good look.
What an empty piece of leather that is.
Yeah, that's not
what a complete maroon. What a dope. Like,
I would never.
She can't put a thought together.
Yeah, but that's not. I mean, you have to start. Your presentation dictates a lot, and people don't understand that. It really does. And you can't. I mean, you think back. Remember the first State of the State, and people were criticizing. And I said, okay, that's kind of petty.
She had that
but
tight leather
when she had the dress on and no under, and you could see, her. And people were talking about it, and I said, okay, but you got to be kind. But somebody in your circle has to tell you that those things matter. They really do. I mean, you say, well, that has nothing to do with it. Yeah, it has a lot to do with it.
She had a very conservative look this time around with the tweed jacket with the
peak lapels. That was popular back in the 8th grade, like with the, what do you call that?
But I mean, going to how she's trying to tack as a centrist, she
that.
dressed like a centrist. She tried to look a little more of a frumpy look than she has in the past.
Well, she
Looks
succeeded.
like she's fucking choking on gravy. Nothing in there. Like, let's just remember, this is deep state Slotkin. You spent billions of dollars in Iraq for a war that killed hundreds of thousands. You're responsible for it. You helped push Ukraine into war. Remember, you worked at the Department of State. You voted for every terrible piece of financial legislation under Biden and then tried to run away from it. I believe you ran the campaign against her, trying to pretend we got to stop spending. Mm-hmm. This is so dangerous. So now you got Bernie Sanders running around, right? Spend more. Spend more. Spend more. Power to the people. More Medicaid. Bernie, you were in charge of the economy under Biden. It was your picks for the Council of Economic Advisors. You were the chairman of the Senate Finance Committee. You gave us the American Recovery Act. You gave us the runaway inflation. And Slotkin went along with it because they don't understand anything. And again, I'm going to go back to it. All these little circles of people online. You don't know either. You went to chiropractor school. You didn't study finance. Let me lay out what's going on. Relax about the market. The market's flat. Here's what's going on. $2 trillion a year in deficit spending. Just making it up. We don't have any money, print money. Prices go up and down. There'll be a hurricane, so the sugarcane crop gets wiped out. So sugar goes up, supply and demand. Inflation comes from printing money. If you've got $1 trillion in circulation and you don't have any money to pay everybody ripping off Social Security and everything, you print another trillion. That means there's 2 trillion out there now, which means the price of everything doubles because you doubled the money supply. You can't do it. So 2 trillion a year equals 8.5% of all economic activity in the United States. 8.5%. Let me put this in some perspective. The Great Recession, the economy shrank about 4.5%. The Great Recession. The Great Depression, at the height of it, the economy shrank 10%. We're faking money at an 8.5% clip. That's what's going on. We've got to stop it. We got to stop the steroids, or we're just going to destroy ourselves. So it is going to take a minute. This is the right thing to do, and it's about fucking time. But we don't have anybody that understands anything. That's why they can't sit there. Talk to me about money. You don't know anything about money. They shouldn't be in charge.
Yeah, that's true.
You've done more to help me understand that situation in the last 60 seconds than anything that I've consumed in the media in the last month.
Was it helpful?
Yeah.
8.5%. That's insane.
But when you look at the volatility in the markets, and who isn't going to get anxious about it? Any of us looking at our, 401k, our IRAs, whatever, is probably getting a little anxious, seeing what we've seen in the last 2 days in the markets with 890 points on Monday. I don't know what the net was yesterday. People are anxious. They wonder if Trump knows what he's doing, but that actually makes a lot of sense.
Because the stock market is wildly overvalued. That's where inflation went. Everybody knows the rich people really made out during COVID and during the USAID scam and all that. Where did that money go? It went into the stock market. What else do you buy? Stock market. It's overvalued. So you got to stop with the fake economy. We all know jobs. Remember the fake job reports of the Biden administration? What were the jobs? What was the growth? Government. We now know the government's not even doing anything. So I'm not afraid. I don't need these talking points. I don't need Alyssa Slotkin fucking tweeting they could take your Medicaid, your Social Security. We know trillions are fraudulently removed. We want it removed. We need it removed. We need it to go back to the private sector, which brings me to fucking Canada. Let me explain something about Canada, okay? Because I'm from here. I'm from Detroit, Michigan. I watched the slow collapse of the mechanical heart of America. I saw what you did to us. Canada, 300% tariff on milk, 300% tariff on chicken, 300% tariff on cheese, 50% tariff on copper, 25% tariff on steel, 45% tariff on cars. Wow. Cars. Okay, so we ship a car into Windsor, 45% tax. They ship their cars here, no tax. Wait a minute. Canada doesn't have any car companies. That's our car companies. How the fuck is this possible? So the Canadian auto worker makes $2 an hour more than the American auto worker. And yet they're still cheaper. The car's still cheaper. Why? Because General Motors, Ford, Stellantis doesn't have to pay for health care for the Canadian auto worker. Who pays for that? The Canadian government.
Taxpayers.
Canadian government pays for it. How can the Canadian government afford that? Oh yeah, that's right. You don't pay your defense bill, Canada. You're the biggest deadbeat in NATO. That's how this is working. It's fucked up. You've been taken advantage. We all know it. And the UAW's with me. They know. Because, like Mexico, this isn't Volkswagen. This isn't Mercedes. This isn't Lamborghini. This is Ford, GM, and Chrysler. So why does Mexico have more auto workers now than the United States? Why is the Mach-E, the electric Mustang, made in Mexico? Why is the Silverado, all the good stuff, being made in Mexico? Why? We're getting fucking ripped off by our own people, and it's got to stop. You could build that shit. Remember the Kentucky, Tennessee big EV shit, and it's empty? They've got a big campus. Bring the fucking car back. Build it in the United States. Our jobs. Because the price of the cars didn't go down. The profit went up. But remember something, ladies and gentlemen. When they talk to you about prices, you're not just a consumer. You're a worker. The other side of it is wages. And we all been getting fucked. And it's time. Okay, Mexico. First of this year, they just raised their national minimum wage. You know what the minimum wage now for Mexico is?
No.
For a day? $13.95.
For a day?
For a day.
An entire day.
For an entire day.
So $1.50 an hour.
Yeah. Wow. $1.75, something like that. So why do you think our factories are there? Because of that. Now, if you look at illegal immigration, the plurality of illegal immigrants living in this country come from Mexico. Mexico. So they don't even want to work for $13.95 a day. Come up here. So what are we getting out of this? Because the car ain't cheap.
No.
Detroit's fucking on its ass. Oh, who's gonna cut the bacon? Who's gonna cut? Let me just go back at this one. Because I'm from Detroit. I studied math. I worked in the factories. I beat it all up and down this whole planet. I put my time in. Because thank you for the education. I'm paying you back. I worked in a slaughterhouse. That's where I won the Pulitzer Prize. So I know about this. Currently, slaughterhouse worker making $16 an hour. In 1985, when Hormel went on strike in Minnesota, it was unionized, right? They made $10.50 an hour. You know what $10.50 an hour 1985 money is today? Shit. $33 an hour. $33 an hour. And they got benefits. And kids went to college and people had homes, right? And things were coherent. So the price of labor for Hormel, Smithfield, you name it, slaughterhouses, went down 50%. 85 to 95 to 2050 in 40 years. The price of bacon is up 20%. So we got a 70% mismatch here. Where'd the money go? Wall Street. So why can't we have a piece of that? Call me a socialist. Why shouldn't a person enjoy some profit, some fruits of their labor, so that we can have a coherent society with good schools, clean water, no corporate welfare? It has to change. It has to. And don't let these goons distract us. This isn't a pro-Trump anything. This is basic economics that should have been done a long time ago. Ross Perot fucking told you. The giant sucking sound. The giant sucking sound. It's all down in Mexico now. Mexico's where it's at. We're divesting from China. It's all going to Mexico. Delphi. They're not a Delphi plant in America anymore. The headquarters is up there on 75, but that's just a shell. We got so fucking rooked. And all they do is steal. All they do is steal. So, I know. Hold tight, America. Hold tight. And I'm expecting some movement, Ms. Nessel. Any of you want to call me? Gilchrist, you want to sit there? Anybody who's running right there. And do not be saying we the people are the new media. Be the fucking media, but you're not the press. You're just not doing the work. I don't give a fuck. I muted you. Shit come on my thing. I'm like, why is this showing up? I muted you. You know what I need? Because I need some positivity. I need positivity. And I'm going to leave everybody with an uplift, a missive, a stand strong monologue from my good friend, Mr. Positive.
This is the electrifying Mr. Positive of Detroit radio, national radio, and TV. To all my warriors, remember, take hold of that vision that comes from above, but temper your destiny with peace, truth, and love.
Well said, Mr. Positive.